doing my part. I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part. I'm doing my part.
Alrighty, I'm back. Hello, how is everyone? Thank you for giving me some leeway. One day I will start a stream without the apologies for the late or tardiness, or rather, I think I'm pretty good at not saying sorry, but I just like to say thank you for the patience. But here we are, cup of tea in hand, warming up my freezing little fingies. And we're gonna be jumping back into some Red Dead Redemption again later today. So I'm very excited. Very, very excited. Hi Oaken. Hi Grady. Hi Cam. Good to have you guys here. That is odd, but it's only been 5 minutes, so, we'll give it time. A girl can dream, indeed. A girl can dream. Dan, good to see you guys. Effigy, I'm not familiar with Johnny Rico. Should I look up who this is? I feel like we've had a pretty chill start to the stream, so why not? Why not get distracted nice and early? Johnny, it's good to have you here, by the way.
I'm doing my part.
Welcome on back. It has been a bit of a tough one. Ah, no way! Okay, so this to me, because we obviously had the Starship Troopers alert that people pop off, but that one came up as a little bit of a meme over time. But we have yet to watch Starship Troopers in the Discord movie nights. So I'm feeling like the final weekend of May, we simply must make it on the list. This weekend we're watching Repo the Genetic Opera. The Genetic Rock Opera? Yeah, the Genetic Opera. So that's what's happening this weekend. But I think we've got to do Starship Troopers next weekend. I have seen it, but a long time ago. I want to say 8 years ago, maybe even longer. Maybe even 10 years ago. So I have seen it, don't get me wrong. But it's been so long that I did not even think about Johnny Rico as a character. So that shows to me that we simply must go rectify this knowledge or lack thereof, right? I've never finished Red Dead Redemption Oaken. I only started it a week or two ago, so we're very, very early on. People have been very good at not spoiling though, so that's been good. And yeah, we've just been chugging away at it. Hello, how you going? Let gasp indeed. Yes, so he's the dad of that streamer, right? I know that seems kind of like a bizarre connection, but I know that the Grace, that was her name. So she was in Stranger Things. And so that's their connection, yeah? Oh, that was delicious. I'm still playing a PlayStation 2. My PlayStation 2 is actually just in my my cupboard here. I respect the hell out of that. That is a commitment to a wonderful console. Highest selling console of all time, I think. It still holds that. It still holds that title, right? Anyway, I think that we lock in Starship Troopers for next weekend, because that sounds like a fun one to wrap up our month of May. Is that yes, what is that I kind of want to play it now. Have you ever played it yourself, Oakenhill? Because I know you asked me if I've completed the story, but I can offer the same line of questioning to you. Your 360 finally died, poor thing. Poor thing. But that is very impressive to still have the Nintendo 64 as well as the PlayStation 2. For me, I know I've spoken about this before, but I had a Nintendo 64 as my first console, or rather my brother did. My brother is 10 years older than me, so that kind of makes sense that when I was born into the Nintendo 64 because I had an adolescent in my household already playing it. And then he swapped it with his friend for a PlayStation 1. And then he immediately sold the PlayStation 1. I've never asked, saying this out loud, I've never asked my parents on what their weigh-in of this situation is, because I don't know who actually originally purchased the Nintendo 64. I don't know how much it even would have cost at the time. I wonder if my parents bought it or if it was like a gift from my grandparents or something. Got you, 9Fox. Maybe the Switch 2 will stop the Switch 1 from overtaking the PlayStation 2. You know what I mean? My OG 360 died ages ago. I hope the back one, as in the backup one. Oh wow, that doesn't surprise me. I guess you're doing the honorable and dishonorable and so on and so forth. Hey Goku, sup? Yeah, what is up? What is up? I've had a pretty relaxing weekend, I suppose, which means that I am very behind on a lot of things, so I will have to catch up on that, but nonetheless, that's for procrastination, Clem, to worry about, or rather the one who stops procrastinating. Ah, black one. That makes more sense than the back one. I thought you might have meant backup. Yeah, good luck. But I guess it only it matters if you're actually playing it. I have a collection of my PlayStations that I still have around, but I don't necessarily use them. I think that similarly they've become a bit of a decor piece, which is why I need to deck out this place up here, even if you guys don't see them, because I do think that unless I rotate my setup, you guys won't really see any of my stuff, but that doesn't mean I can't make it nice for me, you know? I went to eat stuffed bell peppers. They're so nice. Stuffed bell peppers are actually such a lovely, lovely little meal. But I haven't had ground beef and mashed potatoes in it. Do you mean that like in the capsicum? Because I'd usually do like beans and stuff and cheese, a lot of cheese. But stuffed bell peppers, so freaking tasty. I approve of your cravings. I think Nintendo 64 is about 600 New Zealand dollars back in the day. Yeah, I feel like that's really high. So I don't know who would have gotten us one. New Nintendo 64 price at launch. There we go. It was around $250 in the US. And then, yeah, $250 in the US. It's got a whole bunch of other prices. Console, and then here's with the console versus console and cables. But let's say 250. Well, this one's saying launch price was 200. So I'm getting conflicted information. 250 pounds in UK that is a ridiculous price though. Okay, here we go. So Nintendo 64 Wikipedia page. So grain of salt, but this is the Wikipedia page. It's saying $200 on launch in 1996, which is the equivalent to $410 of 2025. So then let's say just over $400 US, and then in your equivalent today. Yeah, and then you got the bundle for 500. So 400 AUD is pretty impressive. US to AUD, let's see. Because this is saying that it should have cost 560 Australian dollars today. So I don't know what that would have been last year. PS1, you ain't old, you ancient. Huh? Are you saying the PS1 is old, or are you saying I'm old? Because we already are well established that we're old around here. So if you are not part of our demographic, then you probably won't find yourself fitting in very well around here. I see you got the machine that goes ping. Which machine? What do you mean? Yeah, it sounds like a cottage pie and a capsicum. I agree with that one as well. Still reckon you need to play Playboy the Mansion on PS2 one day. That actually sounds like quite a laugh. I would love to get the PlayStation 2 working to do stuff like The Simpsons Hit and Run. I'm sure there are emulators for it, but still. Relaxation fits in the need category. I like that. Yeah, sometimes we just got to make sure we look after ourselves. New Zealand dollars was 400. I guess it was plus a game and an extra controller. Yeah, that could make sense. You seem chill. Oh, thank you. I really appreciate this. You seem a little bit too intense for me personally, but I do appreciate it. But I think that I will ask if the mods could remove you from our class. Sorry, Eyeball. You're just a little bit too intense for me. just putting it out there, being nice and direct. Especially when your first message is, you a pisser or what? Like, Yeah, we're chill, but we also have rules around here. you know. And then we have a clogged following suit as well. Is this the new one? Is this the new Is It Pink? Where has this one come from? Why you blocked me? I don't know why you're saying you're blocked. I can see that you said nice hair, so I don't know what you're implying there. Sorry, Dark One. If there was something else you said, then consider the words that you wrote. How about that? The machine that goes ping is the most expensive machine in the hospital. I have no idea what you guys are talking about. Monty Python rules? So it's a Monty Python skit? What are y'all talking about? It is so dark today, hey. Okay, fine. I'll go get an extra one. I said you looked like a Barbie doll. That sounds like it would be something that would have been automatically blocked, and I'll tell you why, Dark One, because there are auto mods, so it doesn't mean that I or the moderators have purposely gone out of their way to block it. It means that the auto moderation decided that you may have been saying something a bit odd, and even though this one sounds fine in theory, I can tell you that auto mod often will block anything that says you look like ... The auto mod already starts going, oh, what are we what are we talking about here? So it's probably just a reference there, but I don't have it up right now. It's a compliment. Yeah, I'm not saying that it is or not a compliment. I'm explaining to you why your message would have got blocked. That is what I am providing you right now. Does that make sense? I reckon the most expensive thing in a hospital would be MAYrathon machine or a CAT scan. Well, apparently there might be something meaning of life. Meaning of life, I don't think I've actually seen meaning of life. I've seen The Life of Brian. I haven't seen Meaning of Life. Meaning of Life was like a bunch of shorter skits into a longer movie, right? Is that correct? And it starts off in the hospital. So yes, I am not familiar with this one, but I am assuming that the most expensive thing in the hospital is a reference to the film itself. Hi, Buddy Bear. If someone who was being mean to your friends shrank to a very tiny small size and you saw this person in your food or drink, would you scare them? Okay, Buddy Bear, I'm just gonna put it out there. And mods, this is also a heads up for you guys, okay? If anyone continues to talk about being shrunk into a tiny person and how I would react, this is now going to be an automatic, 2-week timeout, if not a ban. Oh, thank you. There we go. So 9Fox has helped me out with that one. It is not funny. It's not adding to the conversation. It's not on topic. The fact that you are making a secondary account just to continue this rhetoric, I don't know what kind of kink you are into, but I am not into it. And I don't want to participate in this conversation. So you're welcome to hang out if you're not talking about tiny shrunken people and how I would react to that. Okay. Yeah, it's like a fetish thing, right? I don't want to be a part of it. I'm not consenting. Okay? Hello, Resolute Island. I, too, am from your great nation. Indeed, I'm from Hamilton. I don't know where you're from, but it is a pleasure to have you here. And this is a much more appropriate question. Thank you so very much. What movies are you looking forward to this year, or what classics do you rewatch? So we do the Discord movie nights. I'm trying to do it every single week in the community. And so we've already seen a couple of classics. We just watched Mrs. Doubtfire, actually. Oh, and I didn't talk about it yesterday, so maybe we can have a little chat about Mrs. Doubtfire. But we've watched some cool things because of the Discord movie nights. And this weekend we're watching Repo the Genetic Opera, and we've just added Starship Troopers to the list as well, which is very exciting. But in terms of things that I would see in the cinema, I was thinking of watching Obsession. Is one that is kind of on people's radars at the moment. So That's one I've been looking at. What else was in? There was one that I was actually. I think that's the one I was looking at watching. Every time something comes up, I always think about going to go see it, and then I never do. So I think that there is a bit of a like a push that I need to do for myself to go to the theaters, because I would like to do more of that. I think that it is a nice experience and a whole package deal to watching a movie rather than just chucking it on the TV, for example. And so, for example, as another one, I was going to go watch Project Hail Mary, and I just haven't. I just haven't gotten out of my way. And then I was thinking of watching Wuthering Heights, and I was thinking of watching this and that, and I just never do. So I don't know what the film is that is going to actually get me back into the movie theaters. But I am trying to psych myself up. They have cheaper Monday tickets here in Southampton where I live, but they're not cheap. You know, they're cheaper, but they're not cheap. And so I need to find my routine, I think. Okie dokie. I know about the fetish thing, but I thought it may be a reference to a new show with Liz Banks. I have no idea what that one would be about whatsoever, Boba. Shall we look it up? Are we gonna do that, or are we just going to let it lie? Can kiwi birds be fried like chicken? Well, not legally. How about that? They're an endangered species, and so no, they should not be fried like chicken. But theoretically, it would be possible. They are a bird after all. Would it be legal? No. Do I recommend it? Absolutely not. Please don't go and find a kiwi bird. And if you do, then, let someone know so that they can track it and keep it healthy and hopefully increase its population. Hi, Polaroid. I dropped my burger, you poor thing. Yeah, I would have eaten it too. You're so fine. No judgment here. I'm well, Night Warrior. How are you? In Wellington. Well, if you see someone called Chocoloholic Mama, they're also from Wellington in our community here. What movies do you think should never be remade? Ooh, because I feel like that is a big one. Hey, there are a lot of sequels or remakes that are coming out, but one that should never be touched. I like your thought process of Back to the Future never being touched. That is one that I could imagine the IP being utilized, though, as a way to go, okay, well, we've already gone past the date that was in the future of Back to the Future. So what is next? Like, where would be the next 50 years? What do people imagine that to be like? So it would not surprise me whatsoever if that IP actually does get used. And then there'll be like a cameo with Michael J. Fox. Yes, that was correct, right? Anyway, with Marty McFly, I think that there would be a cameo rather than them being the front and center. But I simultaneously agree that it would be nice if it was not remade. So I agree with your choice there. But in terms of other ones that I think shouldn't be remade, we just spoke about Monty Python. Monty Python, I feel like, is a good example of one that should just be as is. And look no further, not that it's by the same creators, but Naked Gun. Naked Gun, I watched that movie because I thought it had some promise, and they just did not. I think they needed some. Maybe this is my hot take. I think Naked Gun needed someone more neurodivergent making that film. Because there just felt like there was very little to actually capture the same essence of what the original series and movies, well, especially the series, had. It just was another Seth MacFarlane film, the new one, which is such a shame because I think the casting was the correct choice in terms of Liam Neeson. I think that he was a phenomenal choice. But I think that the script just didn't have enough to be able to be a proper Naked Gun film, and it's so disappointing. It was a Seth MacFarlane film, and some people love Seth MacFarlane and his comedy style, but it was not a Naked Gun film. That was my review on that one. Okay. As I go see the new scary movie, but everything might be wasted on you in a nice way. Is that because I wouldn't understand the references, Boba? Because that's what I can imagine. Also, Dakota, I know that you got banned, but you know what? I actually have to respect the hustle for this one because I was saying how I don't want anyone to talk about this shrinking down and kinks and fetishes side of things. But Dakota shot their shot, and you know what? They did it in a somewhat humorous way, so I'm not overruling the timeout or ban or whatever the mods did there, but I if you're still listening, I respect the hustle. There was somewhat of an attempt at consent in there, I guess. Hi, Yannick. Also, I saw your comment. Thank you so much for finding the reaction, because that's going to make it much easier for me on the other side. I've been being very I've been putting off a lot of editing, admittedly, Yannick. I both in vertical form and long form. I've just been a bit uninspired, I think. Or maybe I don't think I've been burnt out. I really don't. I think I've just been procrastinating. Those are two very different things. There are a lot of content creators who get burnout, and I think that I do very well to give myself a lot of breaks so that I don't experience burnout. But then I also am not doing the opposite thing of like pushing myself to make sure that I do other jobs, you know what I mean? Cheers. All right, well, we'll see if they pop back then. Nine Fox, thanks for the heads up on that one. I guess we had the same view on that. Anyway, so my point is, Yannick, thank you so much for finding that timestamp, because that will motivate me to actually do some work on it. Okay, catching up here. The Miniature Wife follows a married couple, a genius scientist Les and a best-selling novelist Lindy, facing a severe relationship crisis. The power imbalance in their marriage turns literal when Les accidentally shrinks Lindy to 6 inches tall, sparking a bitter psychological battle for control and survival. Okay, so I don't think this is anytime someone else brings up these things, I don't think it's in reference to the Miniature Wife, because one, we've had several films in the past that have this concept. There's like the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and there's the even the Matt Damon one, whatever that one was called, where it was about a whole concept of having a society with these tiny people. So I don't think that it is about the Miniature Wife whatsoever. I think that it's just the same person with several different accounts who is saying the same thing over and over again, and it's just gotten tired. Like, I have engaged in the conversation enough that it is now just like, move on, okay? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's also an interesting point, Ramandeep. I don't know if you were talking about the Back to the Future, but some people potentially would have assumed that there would have been a Third World War for sure. Indeed. I feel like they should rather remake movies that had a good idea but bad execution. I like that. Yes. Vampire's Kiss. Dare I say it? Dare I say Vampire's Kiss? Get the remake? So if I ever do a movie review, it's something that I am really wanting to get into. I just don't know how to do it yet. So I think I'm just doing a little bit of research, loose research on how to start into movie reviews, or how I want my movie reviews to look like is probably a better way of putting it. But the Vampire's Kiss, my clickbait title would be one that Nine Fox said, almost a masterpiece. That's what I would call it. Vampire's Kiss, almost a masterpiece. It was almost incredible, but it wasn't. So I would love to see that replayed. And your question was, who would play Nick Cage? I think Nick Cage, maybe? Maybe he wouldn't be able to play the finance bro guy. Maybe he wouldn't be able to fit in that regard anymore. I'll mull this over. Okay, let me catch up with some other things. Do you think the Avatar movies have lost their sparkle? I never saw the second one, so I cannot answer that one. I never even bothered with the sequel. The first one itself never interested me that much anyhow, Resolute. So that's my very short answer on that one. Usually I go off on a whole tangent, but that one I can just keep nice and succinct. So Yannick said, I found yes, yeah, I saw this, and so that's why I already said thank you for that. But I'm glad you liked some of the other reactions too, because like I said, I think that day was a really good day for reacts. Blazing Saddles and Life is Beautiful could never be remade. Ooh, good choice for Life is Beautiful. I've never seen Blazing Saddles, but I could see that one being very hated on if it was remade. Hey, from Egypt. That's so cool. Big love indeed. That's so freaking sick. Well, welcome on in. Airplane being remade. I think same vein of Naked Gun and Monty Python. Some of those ones I feel like are good to to not touch exactly Polaroid. Film studios have gotten so lazy when it comes to new concepts. Pretty much everything will be remade. Excuse me, I got a hiccup. Over and over at this point. And I think that I would extend that to the entertainment industry with games. We're getting a lot of remasters rather than new stuff because they don't want to take a chance on something new. But I still hold out hope. The internet and dealing with people on it, even when there's a little bit of it, comes out quite a lot. Oh, sorry, Shuck, I may have missed what that was for. Oh, yeah, for the remakes. Yes, of course. Okay. Remaking comedy seems pretty silly anyway. I don't mind the reuse of IP sometimes, but yeah, just not the one that they could have done it well though. Downsizing, thank you. I kept on thinking Shrinking, but that's a Apple TV show. I could play Sharon, you reckon? I'll take that. What I like to see is remakes of things like Spielberg's first film. Oh, I don't know this one. Okay, cover what they did in the book. I'll have to take your word for that. But some movie remakes that I would like to star in since I was a theater kid. Okay, let me think. So what did I love as a child? I watched a lot of animated films. So I find that that's really hard for me to want to star in it if it's an animated. Well, I mean, I'd love to do voiceover work. So that's one thing. But then if I were to think of a film that I used to love, that I watched over and over again, Oh, thank you, Burgundy. I really appreciate it. Oh, Ronald Burgundy. There we go. I've just gotten the name reference. But you seem quite nice as well. Hi, Gringo. Terminator would be hard to remake. A remake. That's actually a really good point, Mike. Hi Bailey. Hi Eric from the Lone Star State. Well, it's a pleasure to have you here, Bart. Now we're gonna play some Red Dead Redemption later on. Hi Lettuce. I'm well, Peter Edwards. Have you completed your goal to go full redhead yet? I mean, I've certainly tried. Okay. I'd like to see some smaller movies with some budget too, like The Endless. Oh, I don't know this one. So if I think about the movies that I had in my on my VHS days, maybe I could be like Rose in the Titanic because I'm a redhead. No, I tease. I don't even love the Titanic that much to want to play it. I don't know if there is anything that I can think of that I'm like, oh man, I would have loved to do that. I've always said that I wanted to play Harley Quinn, but Margot Robbie did a good enough job. And so now I'm more like I'd like to play Barbie, Barbara Gordon and the Oracle, like as both Batgirl and the Oracle. I think that would be kind of fun. But I don't really have any goals that are, I mean, let's be real. The roles that I would truly want to play would be musical roles. I love the theater. I love musicals, and I would love to be in a movie musical, but I'm just not good enough a singer. But I suppose if it's a movie that, if Emma Watson can be Belle in Beauty and the Beast, maybe I could get away with it because they'll have a little auto-tune, you know? Yeah, I could play Quasimodo. See, out there living in the sun, give me one day out there, all I ask is one. I could play Quasimodo, give it to me. In the event I could star in the remake of something, Ooh, Edward Norton's Fight Club. That could be fun. Yeah. Or Princess Bride. That's a nice one. Princess Bride, I feel like, is another one that I wouldn't want to see remade. But I'll never think about it. I don't watch footy, no, not at all. Not Kiwi. Let's hear it. Let's see if we can weigh in and help you out for your dilemma today. Go for it. They definitely shouldn't remake Big or The Similar. That shit was super problematic. I don't think I know Big. Maybe that's a good thing. Hola. Willy Wonka, they've already remade a couple times, and okay, I'm gonna be so real. I got a little bit bored about a week or two ago, and it was really late at night, and I was not quite able to fall asleep. So I say really late at night. It was only like 10 o'clock at night, and I went, it's too late for me to start doing any editing because I didn't want to fall into a habit of working late at night because then I'll just never go to sleep. And so I was like, you know what? I'll chuck something on. I'll chuck on a movie. I'll chuck on but I also didn't want to watch anything that I actually wanted to pay attention to. And I have Prime at the moment because I've been watching The Boys. And one of the first things that came up was Timothy Chalamet's Willy Wonka. Or Wonka, rather. They just called it Wonka. It wasn't very good. I can tell you that it was not very good. I didn't enjoy it, and so then I watched the original one with Gene Wilder, and I was like, now there's the magic. That's the magic that we were missing, and I don't know if it is just a nostalgia thing or if it is a bias. But there are some of these older films that just do it better. I don't know what's lacking. I really don't. Ooh, The Never-Ending Story would be yeah, that would be a tough one. I think the same, maybe that's what it is, The Charm. Some of these, when you have all of the CGI, I think that people rely so heavily on it, and it does make it a little bit harder to just have the charm. So, oh, that's right. I even tried, because I was now on a Roald Dahl kick. I was like, you know what if I watch The Witches with Anne Hathaway as the main witch? And I couldn't finish it. I only watched a little bit because it was so bad. And it was so upsetting because they had a cat that was fully CGI. And I was like, this just get a cat. Just go get a cat. You don't have to have the whole cat CGI scurrying alongside the hotel while it's raining. You can just have a cat with one shot looking at it through a window. I don't know why they were making such a big deal about the CGI cat. It was so stupid. And then when I stopped it when they started doing their witches meeting where they reveal that they're witches and they're finally in the open and can be themselves. And it was way too overdone. It was not menacing whatsoever. And a big part of that is because they were like, wow, look how scary she is because she can fly around the room instead of focusing on actually being menacing. That's my rant. Yes, I read his books as well, Nine Fox. That's why I was like, I'll give it a shot. And then I was severely disappointed. Imagine the twits. I feel like no one would ever be bold enough to make the twits today. Poison Ivy, yeah, that could be a good one. But I feel like I will have to work on my accent for that one. Hi, Roses. Sorry, I've just been on a bit of a rant mode. Desk Set, Katharine Hepburn, and the Philodendron needs an updated version. I don't think I've ever heard of these ones whatsoever. There's so many films out there, aren't there? And I guess that's another reason why we've been watching a lot of the older ones rather than new ones. Would you be your character in Fight Club? Probably. What's his name? Babyface or Angel or what? Anyway, the Jared Leto's character, the one who gets absolutely walloped on. I think that is the most realistic role for me. Big as a kid wishes to be an adult. Ah, yes. I never watched this, but I do know this one. But similar concept as 13 on, going on 30. Gotcha. Hi, Cody. Hi, Ligmag. About something fun like The King and I. That would be fun. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so like a real classic musical. I will consider these things. They recut The Hobbit to a single movie. Maybe. Actually, you know what, Boba? You do have a good point. I think that it would be really beautiful to see The Hobbit as a kids film. Like, it can still be a live action. I don't feel like it needs to be animated, but I think that seeing a rendition of The Hobbit as intended. So The Hobbit as a book was intended for kids. Let's make Hobbit as the as a kids film, which can still be enjoyed by adults, and it should be good enough, similar to, you know, Toy Story and a lot of these kids films that a lot of adults enjoy as well. Ultimately, the adults are the ones who are needing to take the children to watch the films or put it on for TV, so they should be able to enjoy it as well. So yeah, I think The Hobbit as a single standalone kids film would be a nice one. And then they can go and watch the trilogy. But I don't want to see the trilogy remade. Hi, Ian. Shark says for doing it better, the Scarlet Pimpernel and the Man with the Iron Mask. Again, I don't know these ones, but the Pink Panther I am familiar with. Sean, good afternoon. You're all right. Yeah, you look after yourself. Don't feel like you ever need to pop into streams. We're just having quite a quiet one today, which is quite nice as well. Who's Karen Page? Let me look them up. I feel like I know this name, but I don't know. It's Deborah Ann Wall, of course. Well, you know what? It's not the first time I've had a comparison, but she's blonde as Karen Page. You're going to be saying Jessica or... wait, is she a natural redhead? I've never thought about if she's a natural redhead. I don't get the impression she's a natural redhead. But Karen Page is a blondie. CGI definitely ruins quality movies. The newer Aliens movies are all garbage. Yes, and that's a great example. The practical effects, by the way, thank you so much for giving me the correct wording there. It's just so much better. Danny K. Okay. When I had problems with getting to sleep, I used to watch the Borderlands movie. I regretted it the day I didn't get to sleep. I watched the entire movie and it was the worst night of insomnia ever. Yeah, I feel like everything we know of Borderlands, we could have told you that. Well, I guess now you can go play mixtape nowadays. I'm still feeling salty about mixtape, mainly because on my YouTube algorithm, there are still so many people who are covering it and more is being uncovered as well, so it just pisses me off even more. That whole bloody video game. Anyhow, what's behind the brick wall? Unfortunately, it is very, very anticlimactic. It is just empty roof space, so we did have a little nosy. The Witches was my jam. It was so scary as well. And remember, if you think about the Witches, and the person who was meant to be the High Witch, she was so intimidating. I don't know if it would still be the same as an adult, but certainly, yeah, Angelica Houston, because she played Morticia as well, right? Am I thinking of the right person? She was perfect as the head witch. I thought she was just phenomenal. The court jester was Danny Kaye's. No, I've never seen this one, but we can add it to the movie watch list. Okie dokie. How's Matt? Who's Matt? I don't know who Matt is. The Hobbit gave me nightmares. Do you mean the movies or the book? By the way, Ben. Have you ever thought about streaming outside in the wilderness? Yes. I've actually done a few IRL streams, Peter Edwards. It's my favorite form of content. I love streaming IRL content, but there are a lot of issues that come with IRL streaming, and it is why I don't do it very often. Hi, Dave. Good to see you. Adash as well. As a kid, I loved the original Hobbit animated movie. Oh, yes, I know that there's an animated one that people liked, so I mustn't discount that one. But it could be a good one to update. What books do you read? I mean, at the moment, I'm not reading anything. I really want to get back into reading, and we've spoken about reading a fair bit on the live streams, but yeah, just a bit out of practice. So if you're asking what books have I read, that's a different question to what I'm currently reading, because the answer is none right now. None of the previews of The Money appealed to me, but recent TikToks raving the Brendan Fraser not needing to work out for the role character focus has me wanting to see the original. I really liked the original. That's the one that I'd be willing to watch again as well. I'm a librarian. They're just cute. I think that the original one was very cute, but I don't know how well the sequels were because I never watched those. Did make a version of the first Hobbit film with all the non-book stuff removed. I gave up with the idea when the second film came out as I couldn't fix the fact he split the body. Like, what is this? Anyhow. Do you know what I watched, which was actually pretty good? The new Jurassic World. Okay. That's the one with Scarlett Johansson and Jonathan Bailey, right? Not the Vivitches, the Witchers. Hi, Kiwi Man. Never miss an opportunity to make fun of mixtape, especially if you're learning more and more about it. It's just getting more and more ridiculous. Anyhow, if you're not sure which one the court jester is, the one with the pallet with the poisons and the vessel with the pestle, the chalice from the palace, and the brew that is true, right? You've convinced me to watch the trailer at least. I only read books with pictures in them. Well, that's fine. A lot of people collect comic books as well, so it's the natural progression from picture books. Don't get me started with CGI versus practical when it comes to The Thing. The original movie is ridiculously good, and that's the thing, is there's so much of this reliance. And I'll show you what I mean by the witches as well. Because I feel like that will be a good one. Thanks for the confirmation on Angelica Houston, by the way. She was just perfect for the head witch. And as much as I like Anne Hathaway as a woman, she was not it. She was not it. Hi, Nate Stevens. Good to have you back here. Read me! I did it. I'm hoping the sequel has a repeat of the female fighting scene. Oh, sorry, which was the sequel for that? Oh, for the Jurassic World, you're saying? Can you just let me know? Because I haven't watched Jurassic World. So if there is a female fighting scene and you're talking about Jurassic World, this doesn't make sense to me, because I'm like, why are you talking about females fighting in Jurassic World? But I guess I'd have to watch it to understand. Hi, Anwar. Can we talk politics? No, not today. But you can talk about movies, I guess. The sequels to The Mummy aren't great, but that's meant to be a new one coming out with all the original cast. Okay, cool. Maybe you know what? We talk about movies on this channel a fair bit, so maybe I can maybe we can do a little bit of movie hangout before we play some games. I don't think I'll do a super long chatting stream. We're kind of having a little bit of a calmer start to the day. I think that always is a result of what time of day I start the live stream, so I'm happy to get more into games a bit earlier. I'm well, Griffin. How are you? It's good to have you here. I too am excited. Awesome, Raven. Awesome. Glad to hear it. I always forget to do my part until someone else does it first. Yeah, it's up to you guys if you even want to do it. It's just this thing. I prefer books with pictures, and the pictures need to be moving, and usually at least 2 hours. You don't want it too long, you know. New Super Troopers. Okay, so there's a few things coming out. I'll enjoy the wilderness for you as soon as I finish spring cleaning my house. That sounds wonderful. I do love going out and going for walks and whatnot. I actually went for a nice big walk today, even though the weather is not the best. So it is something that I certainly need to reset and enjoy myself. But bringing the live stream with me can be a whole headache. But that's okay. We'll find our time outside at some point. Oh, The Mummy. My apologies. The two brunettes fighting in the second film in the gold Egyptian gear. Oh, I see. I see. Well, yes, we must be faithful to the original after all. I'm not even familiar with Monarch. Sorry, I don't know this one. Have you seen? So Everything Everywhere All at Once. Boba has been telling me time and time and time and time again to watch it, so I simply must. But again, I just haven't gotten around to it, and I only have myself to blame. I think the other thing is because for me, I find that when I'm watching films, I have to be very like I give my entire attention to it. And so I have to be in a mindset to be like, I am ready to dedicate 2 hours nonstop to this project, especially one like Everything Everywhere All at Once, that I want to do it justice and make sure I'm properly locked in. And so sometimes it just doesn't happen. So I'd like to go see it. All right, Griffin's got 2 days of work. Well done. Doing a bit of DIY. Nice. Building a small computer shelf to sit under my monitors. Don't involve yourself and destroy it yourself if you're not careful. That's very funny. I'm not familiar with who that is, Joshi. What do you think has been the most influential film of the last 50 years? Jeepers. Oh, goodness. What are we looking at? From 1976 to now? Oh, why I gotta do this to me? The most influential film. Okay, so that is something that would impact and change the minds and thoughts or trajectory of how films are made or how people think. I'm gonna say maybe like because there's a difference between influential and impactful. Like, I actually think that if we're going to try and boil it down to semantics and how the word influential would be, it's probably going to be a kid's film, like an animated film, maybe something like a Disney or Pixar that would completely reshape how a bunch of films are done. It will be the cornerstone of a lot of kids' upbringing. I think that if I'm gonna go in semantics, I feel like it's got to be some sort of kids film, and that could be Studio Ghibli as well. And on that, Studio Ghibli I do think is a good shout as well, because that is influential from the Japanese market onto the West as well. But that is just because I'm trying to find the correct way of using the term influential. There could also be stuff that would be more revolutionary, creating movements, but these don't come to mind immediately. That's true. Jaws, but that Jaws was the original blockbuster, but was that Oh, Tokusum 1975. So technically it is not included because Resolute said 50 years and that would be 51 years. But I do like your point, is it was the original blockbuster. That's a little trivia fact for you guys. Jaws was the film that created the blockbuster of people lining up around the block just to watch Jaws. But yeah, maybe something like Toy Story was what I was thinking as well. And then in the 90s, a lot of people have a lot of love for Toy Story. So that could be how how animation changed. Thank you, Joe. That's really kind. I think that there are a lot of these kinds of things. I really do think influential would have to be some sort of kids one, because that would be affecting even The Lion King. Is where my mind was going, where everyone's watched The Lion King, and because think of this, a Disney film would have spawned a whole bunch of theater kids as well. So they influenced their love for theater to go follow a path in the industry because they wanted to be all that. So that's where my mind goes. Okay. It's a good movie, not going to blow your mind, but it is intriguing. But yeah, I'll just have to watch it. Star Wars. Okay, Sean does have a good point. Star Wars does sneak in the 50-year gap. I like your thinking there. I like your thinking. Race to Witch Mountain. I don't think this one will be most influential, but I like the answer nonetheless. The moon landing, but that's outside of 50 years. It's hard. It's tough to think of it when you think of the math, but it is outside of that. Anything in 69, the funny number, influential. And the Akira influenced so much, you reckon? I see where you're coming from, but I'm not so convinced it would be most influential. No film could do better than a mother or father involved in their kids' lives. I think there would have been a lot like that, and it definitely is something that we need more values of today. Hey. If Disney probably no, I don't think it'd be a Mickey Mouse movie because no one watches Disney these days and thinks of Mickey Mouse. Mickey Mouse is they let Steamboat Willie go to public domain. Mickey Mouse is the symbol, but I don't think that people think of Mickey Mouse with Disney. They well, especially our generations, they think of all the 90s films. I sprained my knee and now it's has a really bad. Oh, you're trying to make me say other words. But you can still contribute. I don't think Ghibli is the most influential. Got to be. Well, we're talking about last 50 years. But nonetheless, you will not catch me out on these things, even if you're trying to contribute to the conversation. You can still contribute, but don't be a dick, okay? Don't be a dick. Ooh, Quentin Tarantino is a good shout. I feel like we could just look up this data, right? Depend on the scope of the influence. Yes, exactly. Are we talking influential on a particular genre? And I think that even Resolute, who asked the question, recognized that it's probably a categorical thing as well. So the most influential horror versus kids film versus anything else. So yes, I do agree that it might be something you need to be more specific on for the question. But that's why I was like, let's figure out the semantics, you know? Matrix, Star Wars, Jurassic Park, and Pulp Fiction. I think all of these are good shouts. I think The Matrix is still spoken about a lot today as well, especially as we're moving towards AI and social media and red pilling and whatnot. Whereas Star Wars, it's influential in the sense that it has spawned a whole bunch of what's the word I'm looking for, spin-offs, and it is super, super prominent. But I guess we'd have to really get nitty-gritty on what does influential mean. All modern films are basically created in the same way Iron Man was. Ooh, yeah. Reshoots, recuts all started with Iron Man. I wouldn't have thought Iron Man in particular. That's a fascinating one. Tropic Thunder deserves a sequel. Tropic Thunder, I think that with how things are at the moment, would either, because for example, we're in this weird state where people are still very politically correct, and in a way that I'm not disagreeing with, but I think there is a lot of pushback on that too. So something like Tropic Thunder would either do super, super well or it'd get shut down really quickly. And I think it getting shut down would cause a little bit of more of this like demand for freedom of speech and, everyone's just so woke now. It would be a very intentional decision to make Tropic Thunder today, I think. And that's what would make it political rather than it just being a product of its time, you know what I mean? Disney would create spin-offs and try to make as much money as possible. Oh dear, wait, they've done that already. Yes, Star Wars merchandising is a good point. Very influential on the capitalism side of things. Star Trek influenced a bunch of kids to become engineers and doctors. I like to believe that's true as well. Yeah. How do you see AI's influence moving forward? And do you think the studios are worried? Actors, crew. Well, yes, yeah. I think that absolutely the actors and crew and whatnot are all worried. Otherwise, we wouldn't be seeing such a push for the lack of use of AI. So yes, they're absolutely worried. I don't know if the studios are. The studios, I almost wonder if the studios are going to be happier about it because they have less people involved, and that's the big issue, right? Is it a lot of people will be out of jobs with the use of AI. And I feel like the studios, a lot of the stereotype of a studio is very money hungry, and if they just use AI to pump out a bunch of stuff, then they wouldn't be losing so much money because it's like, well, it didn't cost as much to make. So I don't think the studios are worried, but I think that the people who are involved in these in the production are definitely worried, and they should be. Like those are the jobs that they've been working on for years, if not decades, their craft, and that can all just be taken over by AI. And so they have every right to not want AI involvement. Lesbian vampire hunters is quite an important one. There's no vampires to be found now, and no lesbians called Hunter anymore, so it had real world effects. Okay, so Google agrees. Released in 1988, Akira is arguably the most influential animated film in history. It pioneered cyberpunk aesthetics, proved that adult animation could be critically acclaimed, and served as the catalyst that introduced anime and manga to Western audiences. Its visual and thematic DNA continues to shape global pop culture. But what is your question? Because I think that when I read that paragraph, that sounds like AI gassing up your prompt. And so, although I completely can agree with how Akira has influenced the media, to say most influential is starting to get subjective. Do a backflip? I would, but I've just pulled a groin muscle, you know. Hi, Glow. You had a dream I forgot my overalls? Never. I've actually got some cool ass ones on today. I was very happy with my fit today. I was feeling very, very fun. Cheap cash grab, yep, when they think of Disney and trying to do their IP. Like, the fact that Moana has a live action is so ridiculous. Moana didn't come out that long ago. Why did it need a live action? Much as I love Miyazaki-san's work, I'm going to say Fight Club or V for Vendetta. Fight Club is a really good one. I think that V for its message for sure, but if we're still going on the word most influential, I love these answers though, don't get me wrong. There's no Matrix without Akira or Ghost in the Shell. Oh, okay, well in that case, I will agree with this thinking. I asked Google and they say Star Wars for A New Hope. I really like the answer Star Wars. It just sneaks in at 49 years old. So I feel like it's a good one. I mean, it's so influential that Disney bought it. And enough said, right? Regardless of how you feel about Star Wars, which I feel like most people think it's positive, regardless, it was a big enough influence that Disney bought it. And like, we can't really look past that for most influential, surely. Can't believe we're actually talking about influential and didn't touch on Lord of the Rings. Well, let me put it this way. I did think about Lord of the Rings, but the reason why I don't think that it is quote unquote most influential is because it's not a singular film. and the beautiful thing about Lord of the Rings is that it was greenlit for 3 films, and you cannot tell that story without it being 3 films. Whereas I feel like if you think of Harry Potter or Hunger Games, so yes, I like your point about it leading to the book to film conversions, and I don't disagree with that. I think that's a really good point. But if just to continue my line of thinking, is a lot of these book to film conversions, those books, book films, they have a start and ending within one film. And so, for example, Harry Potter, the movie, like if I said, which movie did Harry Potter first meet his godfather, Sirius Black? You know which film that happened in. And that is an or book that happens in, and that is because they are designed to be a whole story within one book or one film. Whereas Lord of the Rings, I truly believe, cannot be told um, without it being a full 11 hours. And so, yes, you have like the Fellowship of the Ring with number 1 and the 20. Like they do have events that happen in 1, 2, and 3. But I do not look at Lord of the Rings as 3 films. I look at it as one large film. And I don't know if people would disagree with me there either. I think that you know what I'm talking about. And so even if you are a super fan and you know exactly when, Denethor is eating his tomatoes, it doesn't matter if you know when that is. Because if you think of the average the average consumer, you have to factor in that is that it's one story. You know what I mean? It's one story. That's what I think of the Lord of the Rings, at least. That's my thought process. Also, yes, I did almost say the Twin Towers. I will admit to that. But I feel like that was a fine enough little stumble to have made, and an easy one to make, Okay, but yes, the 2 towers, not the Twin Towers. My apologies. Yeah. Okay, how about we get an Alan Moore movie he likes before he dies? Remind me of Alan Moore. I've traveled to a lot of countries, but we're not talking about countries at the moment. Tropic Lightning, a prequel? That's kind of cute, rather than Tropic Thunder, because lightning comes before thunder. I get it. I see it. Okay, let me catch up with some of these other things. Avatar could sneak in there, being influential on world creation and motion capture. I am not so convinced. I think that a lot of people give Avatar more props than it deserves. Star Wars permanently altered Hollywood by inventing the modern blockbuster. Well, technically Jaws did, but I don't know where. Transforming pop culture through unparalleled merchandising and revolutionizing cinematic special effects. See, and the second half I can agree with for sure. So yeah, I think we lock in. So the whole point was, what is the most influential film in the last 50 years? Let us collectively agree that Star Wars 1977 was the most influential. And we'll have to reassess in 2 years' time when it is now too old to be in the last 50 years. And that's when we can revisit some of the other ones that have been mentioned. Harry Potter was also massively influential. I do agree with this. A lot of people grew up, but that was, would you say that the movies were the most influential? I don't think that we can say the Harry Potter films were more influential than Star Wars. And the reason I think that is because Star Wars was movie first. Harry Potter was already incredibly influential because of the books. And it was made into movies because of the IP. And you see that in terms of sales. Like, I don't think it's overtaken Lord of the Rings in terms of most sold series of books. I will have to double check that. But I do think that Star Wars, like Disney didn't buy Harry Potter. I guess Warner Brothers has it. But I'm just putting it out there. Disney didn't buy Harry Potter. I think that it can be very influential, but I do think that we have to put Star Wars as the one higher than Harry Potter. I love your yapping. Thank you so much. What is the time right now? For me, it's 1:35. Okay. Wachowskis ripped a lot of anime. Did they really? That actually doesn't surprise me if I think about their style. Yeah. Hi, Ria. How you going? Star Wars was nothing special even in its day. Better movies before it in the same vein. Battle Beyond the Stars, The Last Starfighter's Fight of the Navigator. Regardless of if you think that it is not as good a film, you cannot deny the influence, which is the key word, that it has created. The fact that people know about Star Wars and not the films that you have mentioned can be very upsetting if you are a diehard fan of these other ones. I get it. It's like, well, someone else did it first. It doesn't matter who did it first, because which one is now the one that has all of these spin-offs, animes, other animated films, but also series, the merchandising? It's Star Wars. You guys have absolutely convinced me. It is Star Wars for the most influential, for sure. Just thinking it over, you reckon it's still got to be the Matrix because it started the bullet time? Well, this is what Boba was saying about Akira. Matrix wouldn't have existed without Akira. I don't know enough about Akira to be able to comment on that, but I am regurgitating the information that has been given to me. And even with special effects, like that's why people are calling Star Wars the one. They should make a movie about a dystopian post-apocalyptic world in which humans are trapped in an illusionary world to harvest their potential, maybe set in the 90s. As in The Matrix? How do you just mean The Matrix? Who Framed Roger Rabbit? That's a cute one. Even if it's not most influential, it's nice to just bring up some classics. So, okay, catching up. Which one was this one? The Eye of Sauron is just AI monitoring everything we do. Well, it's basically Big Brother before even after 1984 was written. So, we can make these all synonymous. Eye of Sauron, AI, Big Brother. It's all same. The concept's not new, right? Lord of the Rings is gorgeously shot, directed, and has great story and film, but it's not better than The Matrix. And, these things are subjective. I'm not going to argue or, I'm not going to agree or disagree. I loved Lord of the Rings, but the term better can be too subjective to engage in that one. Hello from Houston. Hi, Eric. Ellen Moore. Oh, okay, yes, V for Vendetta. And I must watch Watchmen again because I've only watched like 30 minutes of it. So that's one that I really want to watch myself. Hi, Vinas. Willow. No, Willow hasn't been shouted out, but that's a cute little one. Okay. What's my prize for picking Star Wars first? A reimbursement of the 5,000 lost Clembury points on Get Scammed. How about an attempt at a Scottish accent? Will that suffice? What is Okay. Let me see. I'll get this ready. Disney needs to take Harry Potter from JK's hateful hands. Well, look, I feel like it would be worse if JK got a whole bunch more of monies, Star Wars film after Rogue One was bad. Yeah, you're not the only person who thinks that, Decker Brown. You're not alone in that. Hi, Adrian. And hi from the land down under. G'day, mate. Good to have you here. Okie dokie. Yeah, Akira is pretty good. I feel like I have to watch Akira. Like, out of all of the amazing films that have been brought up, Akira feels like the one I should check out for sure. I don't think we said Terminator, but it's still a great film. Like, I'm agreeing that we have got our answer with Star Wars, but it's still nice to kind of throw out some like, oh man, what a films, Dark City I've never heard of. And no, I don't play chess in answer to that one. Dark City. It's an Aussie film. I've never heard of this one. I'll have to check it out. Oh my gosh. Didn't The Matrix and Dark City share sets? Okay, well, let's look up Dark City. Dark City, because I don't know this one whatsoever. Read The Watchmen. That's actually a really good advice. I like your thought process there. Okay. Of course, Ian. Yeah, take your time. Idiocracy! I think that it was just a prediction rather than influential, though. It's the we don't want to put the cart before the horse kind of situation. Idiocracy was not influential, where now our real world is mimicking Idiocracy. Idiocracy just predicted it really, really well. Okay, the Matrix and Dark City shared several physical sets. That was that word. I did not stumble on that whatsoever. It was. I said everything correctly. Because both films were shot at Fox Studios Australia in Sydney when the Wachowskis began production of The Matrix. I can't even. I'm not digesting any of this. They reused many of the life-size practical city sets that were left standing. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Oopsies, indeed. The Eye of Sauron's or Blinky Bowling Ball, the Planeteer, is literally Peter Thiel's company, same company ingests most of the world's data with AI. Oh my god, it is all the same then. Thank you, Caleb. Appreciate it. And Jennifer Connelly's in the Dark City. Well, I do love me some Jennifer Connelly, so maybe we'll have to go watch the Dark City then. Akira is an interesting watch, especially for its time. Yeah, I really want to check that out after this conversation. I haven't seen Andor, but I will admit that I'm actually very new to the Star Wars franchise. I only watched Star Wars, like the original Star Wars, 1977. Well, I say that. I mean, A New Hope, wherever the remaster of that happened. I don't know what year, but I was already over 20 years old before I watched it, and I loved it. I really did. I truly do enjoy the first 7 episodes. So but I haven't really watched anything outside of that other than Rogue One. Great film. I've only watched, I think, 2 seasons of Mandalorian. And then I haven't watched anything more than that. I don't even think I watched episode 8 and 9 now that I think about it. Did I finish those? I feel like I did, but I don't know if I watched them or I just know how they end. Because I know how they end and I was like, oh, really? That's disappointing. Don't watch 8 and 9? Okay, I won't bother then. Okay. I've heard this as well, Sean. I've heard this about Ashoka. Okie dokie. All right, let's watch Dark City. But in general, I think that I just want to wrap up that Star Wars A New Hope, most influential film in the last 50 years. And then because Sean is Scottish and they were the first person to say Star Wars, I now have to say my best attempt at a Scottish accent. Maybe I say "May the Force be with you." Is there a good quote from the original Star Wars? Star Wars. Let's go episode 4. Quotes. Scottish. All right, let's figure out this Scottish accent, shall we? Where are me quotes here? Remember, the Force will always be with you. That's not even the quote. I've got it. These aren't the droids you're looking for. Wait, these aren't the Scots you're looking for. Sorry, I can't do it. It's too difficult. Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper? What else do we have? I recognised your foul stench the moment I came on board. All right, do we sound enough like Shrek, or can I give up yet? That is my little prize to Sean for guessing Star Wars first. May the blimey Force be with you. Yes, I know how to roll my R's at least. I find your lack of faith disturbing. And you know what? I got bad feelings about this. All right, that's enough of that then. That was good fun. All right, that was. You know what? I'll give myself that. You know what? I've got enough I've got enough of a base where I feel like I could learn a Scottish accent. But right now it's just a caricature. And for those who have been following for a few years, they know how bad my Scottish accent used to be. So I'll give myself that. We've at least improved marginally. Oh my goodness gracious me. Okay, let us catch up here. In that case, if you've never seen Dark City, you should have a look at Gabriel 2007. Jeez, Shark, your movie knowledge is astounding. I'm genuinely so impressed. Black Sheep, I definitely want to check out Black Sheep. I feel so unpatriotic that I haven't seen Black Sheep. Yeah, I really should be watching it. Thank you. I love my dungarees as well. I'm glad that that someone noticed. I do enjoy my little dungarees. The Matrix was a male and Dark City the female. After the Matrix came, we ended up with the Matrix 2. Okay. Pecker! I get how Star Trek is fundamentally structured in far better detail than Star Wars, but come the fuck on. Even if there's essentially not even the subjective once the light side, dark side shit comes into play. Don't even get me started on Disney movies. Actively pretending and not knowing, not thinking, but actively pretending, which is what y'all are doing. The Star Wars was nothing special. Some hardcore. I watch hentai for the story energy. Hey, I don't want to say that everyone is holding this opinion. Everyone's allowed to have their own opinion. But I am more on your side there, Pekka, that I think that there was a lot of love for that film that I watched even as a 20-something-year-old. But I'm also not going to try and change someone else's mind because it doesn't affect me that hard. Okay. Do the Braveheart speech. No, it felt appropriate to do the quotes at least. Hi, princess. Sing a song. What song would you like to hear? Ewan is Scottish, isn't he? Yeah. I did think about doing some of the the Anakin speech, but I figured that we'll try and do Star Wars: A New Hope first. Bond has been somewhat influential. Oh, that's a good one. They are screen testing for a new Bond. Who should it be and how old should he be? I will admit that despite the fact that my dad loves James Bond, I never really got into it myself. And so I don't have strong opinions. I don't know. I really don't know. I also didn't miss your question about the historical events. I just thought would wrap up everything else. But I feel like that one might get a little bit too political, so we'll avoid that one. Bond. No, I don't have strong opinions on that one. But just because I don't know enough about it. So you guys can welcome to think about Bond future actors should you wish. Okay, what else have we got? It was Aberdeen, you reckon? All right. I'll pretend that I'm doing that on purpose. Okay. Fandango. Oh, Clem Fandango. Yes, for a React Wednesday, people told me about Fandango, so I am aware of this reference. But yes, we will have to check out Black Sheep, and especially with Weta. I didn't actually know it was with Weta, but it makes sense when it's a New Zealander. And hey, okay. Hi, Eric. Have you started moonlighting in Glasgow? No, it's Aberdeen. Apparently, Aberdeen. How long are we going to discuss films? So I think that we're wrapped up. I think we'll watch this Dark City trailer because that has intrigued me, and then we'll move on to some video games. I'm pretty happy to start playing. Best Scottish quote. Till you find dandy. Sorry, let me. Shrek, I'm from the swamp. What are you doing in my swamp? Till you find dandy so proud, so cocksure. I actually sound more like Mrs. Doubtfire. Prancing about with your heads full of eyeballs. Come and get me, I say, I'll be waiting on you. With a whiff of the old brimstone, I'm a grim bloody fable with an unhappy bloody end. What's that even from, Lexington? Mission Impossible. Nice. Also, hi, Rich. I saw that you asked about timing. So basically, I do streams in my morning 4 times a week. And then when I'm doing video game streams, I start a little bit later to give me a bit of a sleep in. And today is a video game stream, but it is not a video game stream without spending at least 2 hours yapping away. But I think we might even be only wrapping up soon. We'll find out. Ewan McGregor's uncle is one of the only surviving pilots from all 3 of the original Star Wars movies. That's cute. I didn't even know that he had an uncle in the industry. The man's a goat pilot in these movies, survives the attack on the Death Star, the battle in the second movie, and the attack on the second Death Star. That's cute. If it was in the last 70 years, people would say Psycho. Fun fact incoming. Before Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho in 1960, movie theaters did not use fixed start times. Films played on a continuous loop, and audiences treated them like revolving doors. Wow! Showing up whenever they pleased, watching the middle, staying to catch the beginning, and leaving exactly where they walked in. I kind of love that. But I suppose it's a different era in terms of ticket watching as well. That makes sense, though. I don't have strong opinions. That's because she never watched James Bond. Exactly. I don't think I can say that I've watched a James Bond film start to finish. I do like Daniel Craig, but not as James Bond because I haven't seen him as James Bond. Oh, Kill Bill, yeah. Quentin Tarantino got brought up at least. Female Bond should be another 00 number. Oh, yes. With the Bond legend being assigned to 007. I don't know if anyone else brought up female Bond. I personally, and this is as a feminist, I don't think that 007 should be a woman. I would much prefer to see a new series, and maybe it is a 004 or 006. I would love to see a separate IP. So, for example, even though Atomic Blonde didn't spur a full series, something like that I find far more important than using existing IP. Because Atomic Blonde to me was just a female James Bond. I could be wrong about that, but that was the impression that I was getting. And like I said, it didn't spur a ongoing show. Yeah, Ballerina, like these ones. I think that it's really cool. James Bond. I think it would be really cool to see more of the tackling of feminine protagonists, and Ballerina is a great one where you wouldn't go and have, and yes, you theoretically could, but you wouldn't typically go have a guy now grow up in a Russia ballet, turn into assassin trope. Like that is a trope that is often extended almost exclusively to female characters, and I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's why things like Black Widow are really cool. They have their own stories, and they're trying to repeat it. It can get really tiresome, don't get me wrong, of the same trope over and over again. But that is why we can try some new things. And Atomic Blonde, I think, was a good example of that. It was badass, was it? Yeah, I really like Ana de Armas. So if you guys are saying it's badass, then I'll have to watch it. Kill Bill as well. We literally just mentioned Kill Bill. Another great example where it has a badass femme protagonist, and people at the time, I don't know, and you guys, you can correct me on this because I wasn't, when did Kill Bill actually came out? 2003. So I was still very young when Kill Bill came out. So I don't know what the reception was when it originally came out. But I like to think that people don't look at that film and subsequently its sequel as woke. You know what I mean? Whereas then you think of if a female James Bond were to come out, it's going to hurt feminism more than help it. And that's what I mean is I would much rather see us have another type of like Kill Bill situation rather than a female James Bond, because I am a feminist, damn it. And I know that it is going to be detrimental to roles with femme casting if we use existing IP that are usually have male protagonists. And so look at the Ghostbusters. Enough said. I don't even need a rant about it. If you know, you know. You know? I actually do, Mike, when I was thinking of a James Bond, I see you said Idris Elba, and Idris Elba was genuinely the guy that came to mind for me. The reason why I didn't say Idris Elba is because I actually think he might be a bit on the older side now. but maybe when he was a bit younger, because he is now, yeah, he's in his 50s now, 53. And so, yes, it could be like an older James Bond, I suppose, if you want to go down that route. But at that point, I think you just stick with Daniel Craig, right? Daniel Craig is 58. So that's why I didn't choose. So that's why I didn't think Idris Elba. I think that Once Upon a Time. So maybe I would have loved to know if he and Daniel Craig like auditioned for the same role, for example. I think that he could have done a good job, but I do think that if they're recasting James Bond, then it would be a younger actor. And he did one in Cyberpunk, did he? That's awesome. And that's the thing, is it doesn't have to be James Bond, but it can be James Bond adjacent. Because I know, not me, I don't care about him being a black man playing James Bond. That like other people might have opinions, but I'm not here to argue against them. But that kind of stuff, I think that Idris Elba would have made a great James Bond, genuinely. And so it's cool, but it is cool. I guess being socially aware, it is cool that he would have gotten a adjacent role without it being James Bond, because unfortunately, there are a lot of people who would be up in arms about it, and that is just really sad. I think it's sad, but I am not unaware of it. You know what I mean? But we shall move on from that one, because I don't want to dwell. Anthony Starr. I like Anthony Starr, but I don't think I would suggest him for James Bond. Maybe one of the like Skarsgård kids could do it though. RDJ. It would. I don't know how. Oh no, he did Sherlock Holmes, so he does have the ability to do a British accent. I think RDJ's too old as well. Henry Cavill, I think, is too big, funnily enough. Russell Brand, you toxic man. Yeah, Atomic Blonde was a huge flop. Stafford, I'm not sure if you're still here, but I completely agree that I wasn't promoting it as being like a great film, but at least they tried. That I think that's my point about Atomic Blonde, is that at least they gave it a go. And it didn't work out, but I am more in favor of something like Atomic Blonde failing with the attempt of having a strong femme character, rather than. But I would just hope that they don't use that as the example that, oh, people don't want to watch femme leads, because Kill Bill is a great example of one that did work out. The one with Kate Beckinsale was kind of lame. You mean the like Underworld one, or something else again? Yeah, world has plenty of stories with strong females, and the world doesn't hate female leads; it just hates lazy writing, and people will accept these roles, or these movies if they weren't done so badly. Hi, Jordan. Okay, I guess the difficulty when you're spending hundreds of millions of dollars on something, you need the guarantee of return on investment. Exactly, yes. And so we're all aware of this. The problem with that being it makes every film Steven Spielberg or James Cameron is the hard line between making a blockbuster that panders to both sides of the aisle and to foreign markets too. And you can see now films aren't even going into cinema anymore. They're just going straight to streaming services. And so there is a changing landscape that I recognize is difficult for the film industry to adjust to, because it is a different, like we aren't going to get blockbusters when people aren't wanting to go to the cinema to watch film anymore. And that one is definitely a tough one. Tom Hardy, I could see. I saw you say Tom Hardy for James Bond. How old is Tom Hardy? I think he's a bit butch as well. Like he's a bit more stocky. Butch is probably not the word I should use. I'm not so convinced. Yeah, Ian Fleming would be a different 00 for sure. Hi, BA. The reviews are bad of The Boys. Yeah, I've just started watching it. I think I've watched 4 episodes and I've been so about it. But let me catch up with some of these other ones. What's wrong with being old? Some things get better with age, right? Right? Please tell me it's right. I can't remember anyone batting an eye at it being a femme protagonist. Most of the talk was all the foot shots. Oh my gosh, that's also true, Nine Fox, when it comes to Quentin Tarantino, hey. I don't mean the red bill take. I mean that is a genuinely accurate account of just gender swapping roles. Take Sigourney Weaver. She was badass. Sigourney Weaver. Oof, love it. Yes, Idris Elba said he wouldn't because he feels like a tokenism pick. Ooh, I didn't know that. Okay. I thought they handled it perfectly in Daniel Craig's putting in some strong black females replacement for Bond, but isn't Bond himself. Yeah, okay, cool. But yes, I think that we can have representation without just doing gender or race swapping, because as you can see, it doesn't typically go down well. Whereas we've had plenty of films and TV shows. Actually, Matrix, speaking of the Matrix, is a great example of that. I cannot imagine anyone else other than Lawrence Fishburne playing Morpheus, right? But isn't Morpheus in the cartoons meant to be white? Well, he's also just meant to be a god and whatnot. Maybe I'll do comic. Yeah, I think he was meant to be a white man in the comics, but I'm feeling like I am. I'll pass that on to you guys, just because I'm not so convinced that I'm looking at the right one. I keep getting the Sandman, but is the Matrix based on this Sandman one? The Matrix comics? That's the Wachowskis. I feel like I'm getting a little some things. No, it is based on Neil Gaiman's one. Okay. And then Trinity was a dude IRL. That would have been fun. Okay, let me catch up with some of these other things. The Ghostbusters would have been good, or could have been good if Sigourney Weaver took the lead role. She's already a badass and could have made it more of an action role. I mean, she was in the original movies. That's an interesting take. Maybe they just cast it really badly. They definitely made it more. They used a lot of the typical female comedic actors. How to think about that one? Okay. Daniel Radcliffe for a Bond. That would be. I agree that he has great range. And I love that he just does whatever he wants. And you've seen some really, really great things come from Daniel Radcliffe. Him as a Bond would be interesting. I don't know if he's got the machismo. Is that the word? I think that he could play in a Bond film, but I'm not so certain for Bond himself. Yeah, Tom Hardy, I can understand people liking. Tom Holland, I don't think that I think he's too small boy. I think, wait, Tim, are you saying Anthony Starr had a Bond audition as well? Henry Cavill's a red pill chud, really? Everyone on The Witcher says he's an enormous pain in the ass to work with. I don't think that I can agree with that rhetoric when he has been on several other sets without people complaining about it. And if you look at what they turned The Witcher into, I would almost argue that Henry Cavill feels like the only normal person on that set. You know what I mean? Like, if you're the only person who is trying to stick to the source material and be true to what it was originally based on, then of course you're going to be the outlier of being difficult to work with. And The Witcher, I don't think anyone is looking at The Witcher as something that has done very well ever since they lost Henry Cavill. And it has lost so much of their audience. And people consistently said how much they praised Henry Cavill for how much work he put into Geralt. So I don't think that we can use workers on The Witcher calling Henry a pain in the ass when he probably was, if he's trying to go against what they were all saying. You know what I mean? If he's the only one who's like, no, this is the source material and they're trying to push their own agenda, of course they're going to call him a pain in the ass. But ultimately it feels like the viewers were in agreement of Henry Cavill. So, cheers, Pika. So I would say that you would see someone like Christian Bale gets consistently called a pain in the ass because of multiple film sets. But if it's just The Witcher, I'm not so convinced. You'd have to wait for multiple film sets before you could accept that, you know? Okay. Keanu? Nah, not Keanu. He's got his own things going on. Pierce Brosnan suggested Cillian Murphy. I could see Cillian Murphy. How old is Cillian Murphy? Cillian Murphy. Do you like donuts? I do like donuts. Joseph Quinn. Remind me who Joseph Quinn is. I do like cats as well. I don't think Tom Holland will be a James Bond. I'm going to see Devil Wears Prada 2, and we'll go see Project Hail Mary tomorrow, the new Mandalorian movie. Wait, there's a Mandalorian movie? I thought that was a new season. My bad. Ah, yes, I saw you talking about Uber One. Okay, maybe I'll have to check that out as well. And greetings from Te Puke, Tim. That's so cool. I have family that are near Te Puke, so that's really cool. Highlander. I actually haven't indulged in Highlander, so I don't have thoughts on that one. Okay. Some people are mad about the Odyssey casting. Yes, yeah. People are indeed, but that's a whole other one. I feel like we've spoken a lot about movies though. So I'm starting to get my I'm starting to feel ready to move on to something else. Joseph Quinn. He kind of looks like he just looks different in every single photo. How did this topic start? Well, it always comes back to movies at some point. I'm from Hamilton. That's where I'm from. The 2016 Ghostbusters is a movie that's made in the GB universe in honor of the gents who saved New York. So the OG Ghostbusters had a cameo, so a movie within the movie universe. That's kind of cute. I like that. I want to see Rupert Grint be Bond because I'd love to see them make a Bond to Ginger. That would be kind of funny. I do. I feel this. Henry Cavill pushed against the move from the source material, so the people who critiqued played the red pill card. Okay. Jamie Dornan. Yeah, I'm not familiar with Jamie Dornan either. Sheila Verve. Moon Knight I've heard great things about, but I haven't seen it myself. Jamie Dornan. He looks good. He's 44. So he'd be able to get 2 or 3 movies in. Okay, all right. He's got the look. Yeah, and that's the other thing is I think that Americans could there are Americans who can play Brits. Don't get me wrong, but it is rarer than the other way around. Odyssey, one for me. Helen of Troy is strange, but I'm not against it. Yeah, I feel similarly. Yeah. Elliot Page being Achilles. I haven't thought much about it, and I think it's one of those ones where I want to mull it over more before bringing it to a live streaming public space, you know. Okay. But we'll see. Robert Pattinson, I feel like if he didn't have Batman, that he could give it a crack. Eddie. Fascinating. Do we know him as anything else? Because I don't think him playing Eddie is a great resume for James Bond. Not that he can't do it, but it's just a very short resume if that's all he's played. I got you, Lexington, for your son. That's so cool. Wait for it to come out on Disney Plus. Don't go to The Mandalorian. Got it. Hi, Hyper. How you going? I haven't seen Highlander, but the main star has a guest at Supernova Sydney last year, and I was there for Critical Role. Very nice. Very, very nice. Joseph Quinn looks like a young RDJ. He just looks different in every single photo, I think. Oh, yeah, there's the Eddie one. Megan Fox was a Bond girl. I can't imagine it. I certainly can. The Rock as James Bond. Cheeky. Yeah, I think that Jamie Dornan in terms of looks looks really good. Pierce Brosnan was good as Bond. I don't know if he was good, but he was good looking, that's for sure. Cool. We need a Welsh Bond. Oh, we got to complete the trio or something. Yes, Danny DeVito. That's the one. That's the one. Okay, so here is Joseph Quinn. See what I mean, though? He just looks different in all of his photos. I cannot tell what his actual face is. Like, what that is versatility for sure. He's just a blank canvas, and in that sense, I think it will work in his favor. However, if we look at Janie Dornan, now that's I think it's got a good look. I think it's got a good Bondy look. I can see it. There's some Bond look there. It's almost Henry Cavill-esque, but not super massive. Because I feel like James Bond is a bit more lithe than some of these big boys. Cloned him too many times. I'm not gonna disagree with you about that one. Oh my gosh, Clayface, no. Tom Felton, hilarious. You should do an S tier list of Board of the Bonds. I can't. I've never watched them. I don't have any skin in the game. Talking about how women that acted with him reported that he would talk over them a lot, not take the suggestions, but then take some same suggestions from his male co-workers, explain the script to the girls who already read the script and did the lines with him. I'm trying to describe mansplaining in a less buzzified way. Yeah, it sounds like there was mansplaining going on for sure. But like I said, until you get that same rhetoric on other film sets, I'm happy to kind of dismiss it. Okay. Yeah, someone said Strider in that just on the images there as well. I don't think he would have a big beard. That'd shave it for sure. Okie dokie. Okie dokie. Oh, is he with Moon Knight, was he? Let's have a look. I think what I'm going to do is I feel like we have exhausted my desire to talk about movies any further. So let us put a big pin in it, especially because I'm actually on top of the chat today. But I still want to watch Dark City. So that is what we're going to do. So let's watch that now. Kiefer Sutherland as well. Jeepers. Cheers, Karaya. So you said this was an Aussie film, right? Not that that really matters. It was just curiosity. Ooh. No, okay, my bad. Gotcha, thanks, Boba. I love the lack of voiceover. You don't normally see a film like that. Okay. But it's called Jennifer Connelly, so I don't need to think about it. Where man has no pets. I have, and the thoughts are not actually about Dark City, they're about the Odyssey. And the fact that we watched the trailer for the Odyssey, and I thought it was very meh. Whereas there's so much going on where I feel like I've watched the whole film, still don't know what's happening. And I'm way more intrigued by this because there's clearly some artistic endeavor with it. Even if we take out the color grading, it's also the shots and the silhouetting of the guy with the hat. It's it's intriguing. Like I said, I feel like we saw so much and I still don't know anything about it. And the trailer itself didn't spoil anything, and the lack of voiceover, that to me is more it's a better trailer. It's just simply a better film trailer. Yeah, exactly, Nine Fox. Because the thing is, we've watched a lot of video game trailers and movie trailers on this channel over the last few years. And there are so many things where they're just bad trailers. They're just terrible, terrible trailers, even if the film or game end up being pretty great. And I was trying to think, is it just hard to make a trailer? And yes, maybe it's hard to make a trailer, but at the same time, there's clear, like, there should be having whole teams that are able to market it. And if you're marketing it terribly, then I don't know if that's really just that it's hard to make a trailer. I don't know. I thought that was a good trailer, and others might not, but there have been some terrible trailers that we've watched. They've gotten way more spoilery. Yes. Okay, maybe that's what it is. Because I prefer this style where it doesn't have the voiceover, but it's still you can still have a trailer with voiceovers. I just don't think they're necessary. But it was just intriguing. So I am a New Zealander who lived in Australia, who did acting training, so I have somewhat of an American influence as well, and now I live in the UK. That is why you can't make out what the accent is. It's been decades since I watched it, but I still remember as Melissa George in it with a nude scene. Well, let's definitely go watch in that case. It didn't spoil the movie? Hell yeah. And that's the thing, is there are other ones where it's like, what are we watching? Whereas, like I said, I have thoughts, and they're not about Dark City. We watched the Odyssey trailer, and the Odyssey trailer, it just looked so meh. It was so flat, and there was nothing for my eye to focus on. And maybe that was the cinematography. Maybe they're just doing too much of the wide shots instead of having something striking that draws your attention, draws your eye's attention. Yeah, anyway. Hi, gods. It looks like shit, yeah. It looks like shit. I did not like the trailer whatsoever. I hate how you can watch a trailer and know what happens in the movie, so no need to watch the movie. Exactly, whereas this was good. Hi, gods. Feet up! You might think that I'm doing my hands up, but you'd be mistaken. Okie dokie. Before we fully move on, let me see what else I have here. I could probably have this ready to go before wrapping up. There's also, hey, don't shame my feet, okay? Don't shame my feet. That's actually really rude. I want to see if did they really Lexington? Hi, Chan. I want to see if because I was talking about the witches ages ago. If they have a view of what she looks like when she turns, then I will show you this. Okay, people probably don't care about this one as much, but it's my channel. I do what I want. So I'm going to show you guys the Witches trailer. Not because I want to compare trailers, but because I have a little gremlin bugbear on my shoulder that was about the witches, the Roald Dahl movie, and why I stopped watching it. Because I was curious about it. And then I watched it and I was like, ugh. Floating in the air. And I was like, why? This is not intimidating or menacing. If anything, it should look cool and fun and like, whee, they can fly around. And when I got to the scene is when I decided to stop watching this film, because the floating around just looked so goofy. And I wasn't scared of Anne Hathaway. I was like, you just look like, yeah, it's goofy. I think it was, oh, there we go. I'll swap there's another example of the CGI of the mouth as well. It just made me go, yeah, exactly. I'm not a fan of her Catwoman either. I think she's a beautiful person. I think she has a lot of grace, but I think that, and you know, the Devil Wears Prada, awesome. The Witches Wear Prada was very funny, but she should not have been in that role. She's it just like, even just that, the like, who's gotta stop me, that wasn't scary. And what one of the beautiful things about Roald Dahl is how, as a kid, how believable these creepy characters were. Anyway, so that was just my little bugbear that I wanted to address before we move on, because we spoke about it earlier, and it was pissing me off. As the best movie I've seen, sure. Also, I don't know who this person you mentioned before was. Sorry, Invisible Man. I didn't address that. Practical effects of the original movie was a million times better than that poor CGI. Yes, exactly right. The witches, and that's the thing is, you're not meant to know who is and isn't a witch. And I think that's what's kind of cool about the original as one. Is this the original one? Let me go 1990. So if we look at the practical effects, like, this is so creepy. Look at that. Oh my God. Ah, like, even just looking at it, that is so much scarier than anything that we just saw in the trailer. Like, what the frick? Smash! It's insane. And then even just this one still, like, this is looking manic as hell. Wow, it just, that, like, oh my gosh. It's so creepy. Yeah. Aww. Oh, mousy mouses. Anyway, it just... This is so much creepier. So much creepier. Anyhow, I just wanted to share that with you guys. My parents stayed at the hotel from the OG, no way. It's my new PFP. Yeah, it's actually just a picture of me. I don't know if you guys knew, but I actually had a bit of an acting role back in 1990. It was a stand-in for when they pull the mask off. Of course, Mike. I'm about to swap over, so you're a good timing. But thank you so much for hanging out. Reminds me of that game Atmosphere with the Witch expansion. It used the VHS DVD player as part of the game. Okay. Awesome. Well, on that... Oh, we're gonna, I don't know about that one, Rich, but we're gonna move on. But I just wanted to say a big thank you for the hangout, for the just chatting. If you guys are on YouTube, we're gonna end the YouTube stream now. But if you want to come play some Red Dead Redemption with us, jump on over to Twitch. That is the best place to play along, but technically I am live on XClem Plays as well. But that was a lot of fun, and if you guys enjoyed, consider subscribing, and it's lovely seeing a whole bunch of people returning and hanging out, so thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time. That's all for now. I'll be back live tomorrow, I guess. I'm live every single day of May. Discord is the best place to stay up to date if you want to see what time. That's it. Thanks, YouTube. Bye!